A very good morning and a warm welcome to all the educators present out there. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, teachers. I was actually listening to my own YouTube live session, so it was a little echoing, so I just closed on that. Anyways, thank you so much for joining. Hmm. Whatever happens, this cold and cough will not go that easily. I realize that. There's a saying actually. I think some of you might know. If you get there are like you will have a lot of problems in your life. Everybody will claim that you've got lots and lots of problems in your life, and one day until you actually get a cold, you know everything else in the life will feel manageable except this particular aspect. Anyways, warm welcome to everyone on a gloomy Sunday over here in this case. When I say Bangalore, it's quite gloomy out there, a little bit of drizzles and a little, I wouldn't say little, quite cold breeze out there. It's a perfect time for someone to not wake up on a Sunday morning at this hour. You could have slept for some more time. I'm pretty sure many people who are joining from Bangalore are right now still on their bed and watching the session by probably lying on the bed. Anyways, that's completely fine. It's my duty to make sure to be there every Sunday, 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock on a Super Sunday workshop. By the way, we are there at the 89th session, teachers. Yeah, I think some of you have been very regular to this. Sunita ma'am and then Sukhbira ma'am. I remember Nisha ma'am, Revati ma'am, Vatsala Devi ma'am. A lot of people have been extremely regular. So thank you so much for joining. Let's quickly, we say winter is better. In winter we say summer is better. In rainy, that's there, of course. Human beings, we have to say that. Yeah, that's part of our day-to-day life. Anyways, oh, Sheller ma'am, oh, fantastic, thank you so much. So on this particular Sunday, now this particular topic, we are going to get into the world of Cambridge University. Like it's all about IGCSE curriculum. Now the moment we say IGCSE, it's more like a certificate, but it is governed by CAIE. So I'll talk about all these things basically with respect to CBSE being the body of exam. So CAIE is the body which controls IGCSE certificate, something like that. So we're going to talk about all these things one by one today. We'll try to have a quick comparison of how it is different from CBSE. And some of you must be in the process of switching your child from Cambridge to CBSE or CBSE to Cambridge, or switching your job from CBSE to IB or IGCSE, considering the number of schools that are increased. By the way, how many IGCSE schools are there in India? Any rough guess? You can put it on the chat. Rough number. Any rough number you have in your mind? You can Google it if you want to. How many schools are there? I would like to share my screen and speak about all these things one by one. But if anybody can guess, you can just put it on the chat. How many IGCSE schools, if it's there in your locality, and you can just mention that as well. I hope my audio is completely okay. Swarupa ma'am says 150. Bharati ma'am says 70. Oh, Pariti ma'am says 500 plus. Okay, 80, 100. Okay, that's good. That's good. So here in this case, okay, that's a guess. Oh, only one school. Ma'am, I think you missed putting the zeros, if I'm not wrong. Uh-huh. Okay, there are multiple numbers coming, and now your lucky numbers are also coming into picture. So let me share my screen and show you how many schools are there, what are they intended to. 108 schools are only present in one state, Dr. Shanmugaya. Only one state, and that is also in Maharashtra. Did you know that? That's a 15 in Hyderabad. Yeah, Shobna ma'am, you're very right. So it's approximately 500 IGCSE schools in India. Just imagine if there are 500 IGCSE schools, even if I consider 1,000 to be the strength on an average at a lower number. So you have what, approximately 20,000 students, 25,000 students, 2,900 schools. No, it's not 2,900. Yeah, what's another, ma'am? You mentioned 500. Yeah, you're right. You're right. No. So IGCSE schools, approximately 500 in number. And what are they? Where are they governed from? And why do they have so much of importance in India right now? And why so many schools are increasing drastically? In fact, IGCSE is one curriculum that's present in almost 160 countries. In fact, CBSE is also present at various countries, more than 50, 60 countries. But the kind of curriculum that CBSE has, which with respect to the content richness or concept richness, that's not the only focus area for IGCSE. Doesn't mean it is not rich with content. In fact, IGCSE has got this ability of asking the students to choose across 70 subjects. Just imagine 70 different disciplines. It's huge. So, and one more surprising fact during the research of IGCSE, we came to know that IGCSE is basically called as IGCSE only for grade 9 and 10. So basically 14, 15, and 16-year olds. It's just like a certificate of, just like you have board exams over here. It's like IGCSE certificate, International General Certificate for Secondary Education. This is for the children who are coming under the category of 14, 15. Then what is it called as for early classes? Do you really have IGCSE curriculum? No, it is actually not called as IGCSE curriculum for early classes. We'll talk about what is it called as one by one. So today's session will touch upon the curriculum and the pedagogy predominantly, a little bit of assessment as well, how IGCSE takes care of things. The fee structure, its comparison with CBSE will be the conclusive part of our curriculum. We'll try to get into the details as well. Some IGCSE related numbers. I would like to tell this to you, teachers. It will be holistic assessment is actually kind of present in CBSE as well right now. You can see that the International General Certificate of Secondary Education is an internationally recognized qualification for students aged 14 to 16. That's the first surprising thing. Second, it's administered by examination boards such as, there are not one, there are three bodies actually. It's called as Cambridge Assessment International Education, CAIE, just like CBSE, which is headquartered at United Kingdom. And there is something called as EdExcel. Now, EdExcel is another body which is by Pearson. I think some of you would have heard about Pearson books, you would have heard about Pearson dictionaries, you would have heard about. Back in those days, you used to have a lot of competition between the Pearson dictionary and the Oxford dictionary. वो छोटा pocket dictionary होता था ना. So yeah, so these guys did an amazing job, and they've been working on curriculum development for a very long time. Not really school education as such, but from newspapers, media, and encyclopedias, atlas, and these things. Then they suddenly got into education and started excelling like anything. We'll talk about it. It prepares students for further academic pursuits like the IB diploma. You remember we had IBDP program. So IBDP program last time when we spoke about international baccalaureate curriculum doesn't mean the child has to be continuously in IB to write IB diploma. They can come through Cambridge as well. That's different, right? Then you have got A levels, which is basically advanced levels. People call it as advanced levels, and O levels. People call it as ordinary levels, something like that, and other advanced courses. I am not very clear about O levels and A levels at the current scenario, and I felt it's not even necessary at the current juncture. From basic exposure point of view, let's continue on. Yeah, Pearson books are very good. You're right. Continue on the basic, overarching aspect of IGCSE. Just to touch on some exposure facts. If anybody would like to add more detail and you're from IGCSE school, I would love to hear it on the chat. Please put it on the chat. Maharashtra has there are over 9,000 IGCSE schools across the world and 500 in India approximately. Now, these numbers are fluctuating, increasing, decreasing. Why decreasing? Many schools have started opting for moving towards CBSE than being in IGCSE because of the new reforms that have already started in CBSE. Now, you'll know that. Maharashtra has the most IGCSE schools with 109, followed by Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh. Oh my God, we didn't know that. So Maharashtra has the most IGCSE schools. Is that so? Anybody planning to drop your child in IGCSE school? Yeah, shift yourself to Mumbai very soon. Oh, absolutely. In India, over 56,000 students took the Cambridge IGCSE exam in the March exam series, which was a 17% increase from the previous year. So the March exam series was the largest ever held by Cambridge University Press and Assessment in India last time. Yeah. So basically, one interesting part about Cambridge assessment is they happen three times in an academic year. Basically, in India, it is only March, but the other places have this option of, I think, May, June, and November and December as well, I think. You just cross verify this information, but this information of happening three times is absolutely true. You just need to figure out the months out there. But in India, it happens. In fact, these are again choices. You can choose one of them and you can write an exam. By the way, did you know in CBSE we could do something similar to this? Like they started coming up with this habit of, or not this habit, this reform of having a board exam attempted two times. Like half yearly and annual, we call it, right? But no, it is going to be term one board exam, term two board exam. And there's going to be consolidation of both the exams. So, somewhere, if somebody says that Cambridge has this option of flexibility and CBSE doesn't, no, you're wrong. The new reforms has come into picture. So this is how in today's session we'll try to compare with IGCSE and CBSE and try to do it. Now let us understand the quick history with respect to the comparison of governing bodies. This is very important for us to understand why IGCSE is accepted so widely across the globe. One very interesting thing when we ask some students of IGCSE school, students say that they have very less writing work and they have more of doing work, which is very similar to international baccalaureate curriculum. However, the Cambridge curriculum do have textbooks, and they emphasize on project work as to be one important area of assessment. And that is what even CBSE brought very recently, saying that you have to do multiple projects, and that would be recorded under your portfolio. So in this case, if IGCSE has it, even CBSE started having it. Let's understand the governing bodies right now. So first of all, affiliation of IGCSE certificate that we talk about, it happens under University of Cambridge, and that is called a CAIE, right? And then digital portfolio. Then edexcel is basically Pearson, a private company. You will not believe the story of Pearson teachers. I really wanted to, I was so surprised. I thought Pearson is an education company, but you'll be surprised with the next slide actually. Oxford AQA is basically Oxford University Press and AQA. So this is another body, but not as predominant. So what do they provide? CAIE provides IGCSE, A levels, and Cambridge primary as well. So when I say IGCSE curriculum in a particular school, I indirectly communicate. So if it's I am one of the school owners or I am the management member, I'm indirectly communicating that my school is an IGCSE school. That means your child can get the certificate in grade 9 and 10, but at the same time I do provide the students a preparation platform for them to attempt IGCSE exam. And I call that as Cambridge Primary. Nice, right? I'll show you. I'll show you. International GCSE A levels. This is Edexcel, and then International GCSE A levels. So basically, International GCSE and IGCSE, they are very closely connected to each other. In fact, they are very one, but there are very few differences just because the governing bodies are different. That's it. Next is assessment style. So in CAIE, you can see written, practical, and oral. All the three are there, just like CBSE. But here in this case, edexcel, it's not about written at all. It's more on project based work. It's more on thesis submission and things like that. So that's with respect to edexcel. And Oxford, it's again very similar to thesis submission, but it is again a multiple choice questions, competency based questions coming into picture, analytical and critical thinking. Focus on flexibility. Of course, in Cambridge, you've got high, moderate, and high. So what is the flexibility? Can I shift from so and so curriculum to so and so curriculum? Is it possible? Yes. Can I shift from one subject to another in the middle of an academic year? Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. But with respect to edexcel, not all the movement is possible. Now, when I talk about CBSE, do you remember there is this option of a child if they want to learn something in science, but quickly they want to go back, play some cricket for the country, and come back? Is that flexibility allowed? Yes, it's allowed right now. And that is why it is called as National Credit Framework. I hope you got the point. So is there a difference between IGCSE and CBSE? Actually, CBSE has got more flexibility right now. Let's go forward. Global presence, extensive. This is the best part of IGCSE. It's like the most, I would say, apart from IB, IGCSE is present and universally accepted by almost all the universities. And there are universities wherein they don't even have to write an entrance exam just because you've got the Cambridge certificate. To that extent, this is valued very high. And Cambridge advanced programs are also very easy to get connected to with Cambridge certificate. I'll show you. Widespread, of course, edexcel is also widespread, but not that much. Smaller, but growing. Oxford began this very recently, but it's growing. So basically, this is Cambridge learning material is Cambridge endorsed resources. You can find Cambridge books. I think some of you would have actually read it. And some of you would have gone through it in some schools. I really, request the teachers out there to you know buy some Cambridge books. They're kind of little expensive, around 900,000, 1,200 rupees, but please go through the books. Of course, they have glossy papers and things like that. Even if you are a CBSE teacher, irrespective of that, What's really interesting about Cambridge is the approach to a particular topic. So they'll not begin directly with the concept or topic at all. They'll try to come up with some context setting. And for example, I was so taken aback. It was so surprising. Some As I've read the computer science books of Cambridge in and out, the introduction of binary numbers, basically it's 0 and 1, right? Binary numbers. They compared or they began the topic by speaking about a bicycle. Now, bicycle has got nothing to do with 0 and 1. You know, it's all about bicycle has got by word because it has got two wheels. That's it. But the way they had written was so nice that they very nicely took the students from the bicycle and took them to binary numbers. So the ability of a teacher while teaching, can really get improvised if you can read such kind of topics. I would say such kind of books. So, in order to really have a different perspective of your respective subject, if you're a CBSE teacher and always been into what R.S. Agarwal or Dhanpat Rai or regular books which are very well known and very good, I would request you to have some Cambridge books as well. One time investment, but worth the investment. Anyways, Pearson textbooks are also very equally good. No doubt in that. And then Oxford endorsed resources. Again, Oxford books, you know that. So all these books are really intellectual from the way they approach. What is prioritized over here? Is it competency prioritized? Is it context prioritized? Or is it the skill prioritized or the concept prioritized? That's I'll leave that to your own speculations. But anyways, let's go forward with respect to this. Now, this is what I wanted to talk about. Look at this. Look at this. Let me reshare it, teachers. And this is quite interesting. So in 1844, by the way, in 1534 itself, so sorry. In 1534 itself, the literary and poetry work of Pearson actually started. So I'm going to talk about Edexcel a little bit over here, just to give you a perspective on how the education system actually gets formed. Look at this. In 1844, at the time it was not called as Pearson, it was called as S. Pearson and Son by Samuel Pearson. Karke, there was one person. The company started as a small local civil engineering business in Yorkshire. Just imagine, it's Europe. It's basically United Kingdom, and they have something called a civil engineering business that has got nothing to do with education. Then it was named as S. Pearson and Son by Samuel Pearson. Look at this. From 1880 to 1927, Wheatman Pearson, the business expanded into a huge international conglomerate with interest in manufacturing, electricity, oil, coal, banking, financial services, publishing, and aviation. So this is like that has got nothing to do with education still. But post World War II, after the British government nationalized many industries, Pearson also had to get nationalized and come under the government scheme directly. So Pearson shifted its focus to publishing and media. You can actually find this information in one very nice series also called as The Peaky Blinders. So that is also an amazing series, and there are 2 3 episodes where this comes into picture right after World War II. Then in 1984, the company renamed itself as Pearson PLC, and in 98, under CEO Marjorie Scardino, Pearson formed Pearson Education for the first time, focusing on educational publishing. 98. In fact, I think you completed your education, and most of the teachers out there who are present right now probably were applying for jobs, especially in the government schools. And that's when Pearson actually came into existence as a proper Pearson education company. So 2011, Pearson Education was renamed simply as Pearson. 2016, Pearson PLC made education its exclusive focus. In fact, around 2011, Pearson Education started acquiring schools, wherein they adopted the schools and said that don't worry, your money, your investment, but let me run the show. Let me hire the principals, let me hire the teachers, and let me conduct programs for you. I will have robotics into place, I will have coding into place. Schools were wanting something like this. And Pearson came and they did an amazing job. And right after Pearson, there were many other companies who came into existence who started saying that we would also like to follow similar order. So something like adoption. But in fact, it doesn't exist now. Okay, it doesn't exist now. So Pearson is still a major player in education, owning Edexcel, one of the UK's GCSE examination boards. So this is with respect to a quick recap of what Pearson did about. So the point is, when you talk about IGCSE as a curriculum, it really evolved a lot, but the major change started happening only after 95, which is very similar to International Baccalaureate Curriculum and CBSE as well, for that matter. However, how come IGCSE is so famous in 160 countries? That is why they call it as international. They allow the children from various countries to come and learn. And when they say international, it's not just about people coming from international countries, it's also about accepting international cultures, international heritage, trade, traditions, a lot of other things. So that's one beautiful part of each IGCSE. So this is how the pathway actually looks like. I would like to show a small video on the same as well. So for the students to come to Cambridge pre-advanced area, which is actually called as IGCSE, we need to go through these ages. So Cambridge early years programs are there, not very famous in India right now. Cambridge early years age 3 plus. So they've got from the pathway from 3 to 19. However, it is quite famous in India from Cambridge primary aspect. That is age 5 plus, grade 1 onwards. Cambridge lower secondary, age 11 plus, Cambridge pre-advanced, age 14 plus, and Cambridge advanced, age 16 plus. High school sort of a thing. By the way, can you relate this with our CBSE or NEP? It talks about foundational, yeah, preparatory, middle, and secondary, right? Something very similar to that. So, does IGCSE is very different from CBSE? Maybe not right now. I hope you're able to understand. So, when we look into CBSE or the National Education Policy, somewhere we can very strongly say that NEP just did not just come like that. There has been a lot of references of various other other education systems in the country. Let me play the video and show you a little insight on that, and then we'll continue further on this. For this, I would like to share the sound, and you'll be able to hear.
Over 10,000 schools in 160 countries offer the Cambridge Pathway. The Cambridge Pathway is a clear path for educational success from age 5 to 19. The 4 stages of the Cambridge Pathway lead seamlessly from primary to secondary and to the pre-university years. Each stage builds on learners' development from the previous stage or from other educational systems. Schools can offer every stage or just some of them. This gives flexibility to shape the curriculum according to students' needs. Cambridge Primary is typically for learners aged 5 to 11 years and develops skills and understanding in 10 subjects, including English, mathematics and science. Cambridge Lower Secondary is for 11 to 14-year-olds and also includes English, mathematics and science. Cambridge Upper Secondary has over 70 Cambridge IGCSE subjects and over 40 Cambridge O-level subjects to choose from. Cambridge Advanced is typically for learners aged 16 to 19 years old and offers Cambridge International AS and A-levels. Cambridge Global Perspectives is available at every stage of the Cambridge Pathway. This unique program develops critical thinking, research and collaboration skills. Professional development is also offered to help teach the Cambridge Pathway. The Cambridge Pathway prepares students for life wherever they are in the world.
So that's with respect to a simple insight on the stages of Cambridge pathway. Now here in this Cambridge pathway, like this is quite a flexibility thing in almost all the boards, but suppose if a child is in grade, so for example, grade 3 CBSE and would like to switch to IGCSE, that is possible in sixth onwards. I mean, from sixth standard onwards or the next level altogether. The point is, there is no prerequisite required as such. Of course, if the child is coming from the similar setup right from the beginning, the understanding, the charm is altogether different. However, Cambridge still provides the flexibility. In fact, only for ninth and 10th also, irrespective of the pathway being followed in the early years, you can directly come to ninth and 10th and do your exams for IGCSE certificate. So that is with respect to the flexibility they were talking about. Another thing is when we speak about Cambridge curriculum, the content and the concept is comparatively way lesser than the activity. So in fact, there is a lot of scope of incorporating a lot of skills in a particular child because the content is not that much. It is heavy, no doubt in that, but the scope of learning a skill is equally given importance. And that's what even CBSE started doing right now by including skill subjects within the curriculum. I think you know that, right? They launched this recent circular also mentioning that composite skill labs are mandatory on 23rd August, right? And we even did a session on that. So 23rd August, they mentioned that every school must mandatorily have the composite skill labs, and these skill labs should incorporate artificial intelligence, beauty and wellness, travel and tourism, what else? Financial literacy, information technology, coding, data science, then digital citizenship, whatnot. So all these were considered to be skill subjects, and the content is also provided. Content itna acha nahi, it is not that great content, but still it's there. So as a teacher, you can modulate it, or people like me can really rework on the content and provide it in the best possible. But the point is the scope is provided. So the point is IGCSE is considered to be supreme because they have got certain features which was not present in CBSE in the past, but CBSE has got that as well right now. Yeah, I'm continuously trying to seed a little bit of confusion in all the people on which is, deciding which is better. It's very difficult. We can never say that, this is better and that is not so great or something like that. So this is with respect to the curriculum. We understood like what are the things that are present, and how many subjects are there, how could it be chosen. And in fact, Cambridge is one curriculum that emphasizes a lot on languages, and you know that very well, right? Not only English language, they give importance to the local language. So you can have IGCSE curriculum in Spanish, in French, and I don't know, I don't think they have it in Hindi. I need to check that. That's a good question on the chat. But anyways, so there are multiple subjects coming into picture, 70 plus total subject, out of which I think 30 are only languages. Yeah, that's huge. Wait, let me check and show you on the screen itself. I think you should be able to see that in few seconds. Apart from the languages, the science, maths also has got its own categories. And under those categories, of course, physics. So for example, they have got technical and vocational. There is a group, I think six groups. One of the group is technical and vocational, where they talk about computer science, accounting, business studies, travel and tourism, enterprise. Now, this is present even in CBSE as a skill subject as well. Then there was something called as another group, creative and professional section, where they talk about art and design, music, drama. Mathematics has got mathematics core, mathematics extend. I would like to tell this as well, teachers. In IGCSE, there's also one scope of mastery. Suppose if a teacher would like to, if a teacher would like to, or if a student, let me put this like this, if a student would like to learn a little more on mathematics. Suppose one of the students, Sri Devi, is very interested in maths. Apart from maths core, she wants to go a little deeper in maths. So there's a separate subject called as maths extended. So that's extended subject will allow that particular child to get into more details, and they can compromise on the other subject. At the same time, the students who really don't want to get into the details, they can choose another subject. So the flexibility of choosing the subject is also immense. In fact, in science, you have, apart from physics, chemistry, biology, they also have something called as marine science, physical science, agricultural science, and things like that. In fact, I remember one of the teachers mentioning that IGCC schools do have 30 languages for offering, in which Hindi is there. Hindi is supposed to be considered as a second language. But Bengali, Tamil, Japanese, and these could be considered as the first language itself. So you should go and look into the language list, and then you will be surprised that the three language policy that in India, which is present right now, it is way lenient than what it was actually expected. So from comparison point of view, CBC has got everything right now. Uh, no, whatever I'm mentioning is for 14 onwards from grade 9, 10, 11, and 12. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. So let me share my screen and continue with respect to the next aspect, and that's called as pedagogy. But for pedagogy, what should a teacher possess? I mean, for average, should I have any certificate as such apart from? No. So there is no certification required as it's required in IB curriculum. In IB curriculum, a teacher needs to be IB certified teacher. The courses are offered. Here also the courses are offered, but you don't really need to be, an IGCSE certified teacher as such. You need to be a valid teacher. B.Ed should be there. I think that's mandatory in India. And then you can do a course, and then you're ready. basically the schools will select you based on your experience and your willingness to learn under Cambridge area, something like that. So your communication has to be extremely good. You should be able to arrange the thoughts in the right manner for Cambridge way of teaching. What is that Cambridge way of teaching? Let's understand that. So this is what we saw on the video. So Cambridge primary 5 to 11 years old, Cambridge lower secondary 11 to 14 years, upper secondary and advanced. Let's go forward. Let's go forward. For pedagogy, watch this simple video and it'll give you a good insight.
The fact that the students are, amongst other high school choices, have the opportunity to say, I want to take courses at a rigorous level. I'm aspiring to go to college. And so that too is just a real nice element of Cambridge students.
I think the comfort level that the Cambridge curriculum provides, and when I say comfort level, I don't mean comfort level easy. I mean comfort level strong and supportive of individual learning.
It's something that's valued around the world.
Passion for learning, access to research, and then lifelong learning.
So they approach college as not just a means to an end, but an opportunity to grow and develop not only as scholars and academicians, but also as public citizens.
We see students who come from such extraordinarily diverse backgrounds, but the thing that unites them is this really remarkably rigorous educational experience they've had.
Any student who's had that chance to have an introduction into the various disciplines, foundational disciplines really, in learning makes them better college students.
It allows a student to think for him or herself, apply to the curriculum, understand that he or she is actually learning not only for that semester or for that year, but for the rest of his or her life. That's terribly enriching, I think.
Right. So that's with respect to the advantage of IGCSE, but actually I was supposed to play the teaching aspects. But anyways, I don't want to get into that. I'll quickly play the teaching skills as well right after this. But when we spoke about the IGCSE curriculum and its requirement from see, one incident I'll tell you. What happened is, suppose if there is a global incident happening on a particular topic, it could be social or it could be science, and some major updates have happened. Like it's like one of the major updates was the missiles or the rockets basically taking the satellites to a certain height, dropping them and coming back, and it's being caught, and it's like the vehicle can be used again for the next launch, something like that. So that particular aspect of SpaceX by Elon Musk just happens a year back, and in the next year you have that in the curriculum. So that is the amount of flexibility that IGCSE will have. You will find the content to be nothing old than 5 years. If it is related to literature or social science, you will find examples that happened just the last academic year. Whatever time delays, it's just the printing time. So to that extent, Cambridge curriculum is updated. So all the teachers out there who is really aspiring to be a Cambridge curriculum teacher, you're not going to prepare only for the students. For the first time, probably you might sit in front of the TV along with your husband, spouse, father, grandfather, mother, anybody, to watch a television news which is about a debate on something. Generally, people, they don't like the modern news channels, considering its, monotonous approach of debates and unending discussions and arguments. But somewhere they play an important role in the curriculum itself. So that is one really good advantage. And for that, I would like to show this to you. And no, you don't require any extra qualification as such. No. See, watch this. That's what they mention as, great.
Hello, I'm Mariana. I'm head of department at my school, where we are always trying to improve our teaching skills. My teaching team have lots of great knowledge, but they sometimes need help to feel more confident when applying new teaching approaches in practice. I was struggling to find support that had specific examples of good teaching practice. I decided to have a look at the support offered by Cambridge, and I found the Cambridge Teaching Skills Roadmap. It's an online professional development tool which has detailed guidance across 6 key teaching skills based on the latest educational research. Videos from classrooms around the world demonstrate how to apply the skills in practice. It is really helpful for my team to see examples from real schools and consider how they might use the techniques in their own classrooms. For each of the key skills, there are multiple levels so that my whole team can find the support they need. The downloadable action plan encourages my team to reflect on their strengths and develop goals. We meet regularly as a team to discuss our action plans and find out what works best. The 6 skills in the roadmap are planning, classroom management, clarity of instruction, active learning, creating a supportive environment, and assessment for learning. The roadmap supports long-term professional development in our school. It has helped me to empower my team and encourage collaboration as a department so that we all feel supported. I am looking forward to finding out where the roadmap will take us next.
Introducing the Cambridge Teaching Skills Roadmap, helping teachers to enhance their skills to deliver better learning for every student.
So that's professional development. So that's with respect to the Cambridge teaching skills. So anybody who was thinking of how to become a Cambridge teacher, so there are 3 levels to it. First of all, to get a job in a Cambridge school, this is not mandatory. But if you do get somewhere, it becomes mandatory for you to learn this. And they categorize into 4 areas: planning, active learning, and skill mapping, etc. And once you go through the course, you'll get an idea of how you could be a good teacher. And this comes under the category of professional development on the IGCSE website. That's it. This is with respect to the pedagogy. Now coming to almost the last part of the session today, and it is going to be about the comparison with IGCSE, comparison with CBSE. What's IGCSE all about? And let's quickly do that comparison. And where is it? Yeah, here it is. You'll be able to see that in 3, 2, great. So first of all, are you able to see the screen? Come on. Yes. So these are some of the apex teachers. So the comparison is something like that: origin, governing body, global presence, curriculum style, etc., etc. And first of all, as per origin, India, IGCSE is by UK, you know that, Cambridge Assessment International Education. Governing body, it's basically CBSE under the Ministry of Education. But here the governing body is Cambridge Assessment International Education. It is part of the University of Cambridge. See, that is one reason wherein you remember we discussed this multiple times. There should always be a communication between the school education to the graduation. Graduation should have the regular communication with job market or the industry requirements. So when all the 3 collaborate with each other as closely as possible, the content continuously changes and there is an immediate supply of manpower for whatever job requirements that are going to be there. If the communication doesn't really happen properly in between these 3, any of the places, that's where education system falls apart. And here in this case, when you say Cambridge Assessment International Education, it's part of the university. So in fact, university is not just about the schools, right? Here in this case, they talk about the graduation and post-graduation as well. So that is one important gap I find in India. It still exists, but it will exist. It's not that easy to bridge that considering the diversity and the population that we have. Global presence is predominantly only in India with some international schools abroad. However, IGCSE is offered in over 160 countries globally. Curriculum style is prescriptive in the sense it's pre-written. It's written on the national curriculum framework. It's written on the textbooks that this is how the chapters have to be. So it's prescriptive, focuses on core subjects like math, science, and social studies, emphasizes rote learning and theoretical knowledge. Well, Not all the time. This is completely changing right now, and that's why 70% of our question paper has got converted to competency based assessment. So here in this case, I wouldn't agree with this particular point completely because there's a massive change. However, look at IGCSE. It's flexible, offering 70 plus subjects. That's still not there in India. Encouraging critical thinking, practical application, and inquiry based learning. Correct. Here it's more of question driven sessions. Sometimes during our CPD programs, teachers do ask, we have got to do this, we have got to assign homework, we have to correct the papers. In this situation, do you really want us to conduct a class which is competency based, education based? We don't have time for it. So in India, the teachers do have the potential to teach in a certain, wanted fashion. Like this is how the chapters are supposed to be there. You know that, but you deliberately don't do it because there are a lot of other things on the plate. Yeah, so that is the reason rationalization of the content started happening. You know that as well. Let's go to the subject option. It's very limited right now. Well, it got increased to quite some extent right now, focused on academics with some optional vocational courses. But now vocational courses, skill subjects, all these have become a regularity. It has got wide variety, including creative, vocational, international subjects like global perspectives. The same is going to be present in India from next academic year onwards, which is mentioned in the National Curriculum Framework School Education, where they clearly say that from ninth standard onwards, you've got 8 curricular areas in which you have got a separate column called as vocational training. You know that, right? We did that in NCF session. Right. Subject options are limited. Okay, we saw that. Language emphasis. Yeah. English and Hindi are widely used with Sanskrit and regional language as options. Right. But here English is the primary medium with other language options available. That's it. So this is with respect to IGCSE. Now, more points. Teaching approach. This is teacher centered, focusing on theoretical knowledge and exam preparation. End of the day, that is what is going to work over here. There's no change in that much. But IGCSE student centered, encouraging research, analysis, and project based learning. They have to. In fact, the students can even choose what they want to study right from early ages. So, from somebody was asking that in the chat, right? Sixth standard onwards, they have this option of choosing subjects, but some number of subjects are less. I think only 12 or 50 were there, right? Correct, correct. Limited focus on analytical and critical thinking, more exam oriented. In India, this exam orientation will be there because that is the only metric of selection of the students to the next level of education. Universities emphasize critical thinking, problem solving, and global awarenesses. These are just big words, but we understood the point. Examinations, annual exams for class 10 and 12, emphasis on marks and grades. Well, it's not all the time case. Right now, it is competency based assessment. Internal marks have come into picture. Portfolio maintenance have come into picture. Student enrichment activities have come into picture. So it need not be annual exam, just one paper, and that decides your future. No, it's not going to be the case. Here in this case, formative assessments are huge. Continuous assessments with checkpoints. Final exams assess comprehension, application, and skills. In fact, the IGCSE 2 years exam happen only at the last. Yeah, graded, no, formative and summative assessment. You're right. Then you've got grading system. It's 9 point scale for classes 9 and 10, percentage for classes 11 and 12. Out of 10, you have got the GPA, right? Yeah, 0 to 9. That's what they mean to say. Yeah, but letter grades are used with detailed feedback on performance. And that's what we are also trying to do with Holistic Progress Card, HPC. I think you know that as well. Exam focused theoretical, memorization plays a significant role. Not all the time anymore because 70% of the paper is on competency based assessment, multiple choice questions. But this is more of balanced, includes theoretical, practical, and oral assessments. Okay, okay. Last, it's recognized by all Indian universities and many universities abroad, not all of them. Internationally recognized, accepted by top universities worldwide. That is IGCSE. University preparation focuses on joint entrance exams and the NEET, basically depending on the stream that you want to choose. But here the students actually prepare for A levels, IB, and global universities. So there's no different entrance exam as such. These are A levels, O levels, and IB diploma program exams, which take you to the next level of university. Affordable, of course, CBSE is quite affordable, suitable for most Indian families, but IGCSE is quite expensive. Higher fees for international curriculum and resources. This actually surprisingly ranges in India from 1.5 lakhs, 1.5. There are some schools which provide 1 lakh as well, but 1.5 lakhs predominantly on an average to 12 lakhs per annum, which is very similar to IB curriculum. So there are some really good schools. I think I remember one school in Mumbai. I'm deliberately not naming the schools in this session because it should not come as a recommendation point of view in any way. So that is the reason I'm avoiding mentioning the school names both in the last session and this session. So don't mistake me on that. If you need any guidance on that regard, you can message me anyway separately. Then best for students aiming for Indian universities and competitive exams, but global recognition ke liye, it's better if they go to IGCSE curriculum. That's it. So this is with respect to the comparison of CBSE and IGCSE teachers. Here in this case, if I talk about the demand of the curriculum, there is no there is no comparison. Like CBSE is also is on high demand, irrespective of the number of schools. Still, people want to find good CBSE schools, irrespective of very less number of IGCSE schools. Still, you will find that not all the schools are completely filled. So it's not like a race between the demand and supply over here. Some parents really want, in fact, I think we discussed this last week as well. The parents have shifted their native place from one locality to another just to have an IB or IGCSE school. CBSE parents will roam around the city to find the best school, and IGCSE and IB parents will generally roam around the country to find the best school, something like that. It's just a little bit of perspective change. It's very important to have a stabilized income in IGCSE. The expenses are no doubt, it's kind of huge, at least 4 to 5 lakhs an academic year. If you have comfortably, you can have an IGCSE students doing all the activities. So this is something. Now this doesn't actually mean that with lesser income you can't go to IGCSE school. There are some schools who provide scholarships and the education loans at a very low interest rate. So that's totally a different point of discussion, and that's not what we're in here in for. But anyways, so that's the major difference between IGCSE and CBSE. I hope you got a picture, teachers. We saw what IGCSE is, where skills are also given importance like concepts. We also saw IB, where skills are given huge importance, very less importance to the concept or content. It's more like you become skillful at con- com- concept gets taken care by itself. And then we also saw IGCSE do have books, but IB curriculum does not have. They have activity sheets. So like that, I'm just trying to bring IB points as well over here. So these are some of the key pointers of IGCSE curriculum. If anybody has got any more questions on this regard, please put it on the chat or message me separately. So that brings me to the end of this session, teachers. Thank you so much for being there on the 89th Super Sunday workshop. I'll meet you again in the next Super Sunday workshop with another interesting topic. I think next Sunday topic is quite interesting. It's actually called as Atomic Habits of an Highly Effective Teacher. Atomic Habits of Highly Effective Teacher. So that's going to be the next topic. Let's see what atomic habits they're talking about. And it's going to be a well-researched document. There are a lot of topics coming into picture. So until I see you in the next Super Sunday workshop, I would like to request everybody to take care of your health. It's rain, it's cold here down south with respect to the cyclones coming into picture. Take care of, I think Chennai has declared holiday multiple times. December is like quite a threatening month in Chennai, and similarly in Bangalore, it's like it just gets chilled like anything. And yeah, take care of your health. Thank you so much, teachers. Great interacting with one and all. I'd like to see you in the next Super Sunday workshop. Until then, Jai Hind. Thank you. Thank you. Use any platform. Use any one of the platforms. Choose anything, but make sure that you have a regularity with that platform. Keep reading a lot. If not, that's okay. Listen to someone. Make sure that you get exposure in education industry. That's what will make you speak better to the students and your colleagues, more importantly to your leaders. That's it. Yeah, next topic is atomic habits of highly effective teacher. So Shubramam, this will be there in YouTube. Whatever I'm speaking, everything is telecasted on YouTube as well, right? It's YouTube live event. Yeah. Oh, Shaila, Shaila, ma'am. See, that series has got nothing to do with education. I'm telling you. It's a different series, and only you should watch, not your children. It's called as Peaky Blinders. Yeah. Some really good movies actually give very good perspectives to history, right? The Schindler's List is an amazing movie to understand World War, Hitler. I kind of love it. Similarly, you know, uh, you should watch this movie called as The Pirates of the Silicon Valley to understand what Steve Jobs and Bill Gates did in the past. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, I'm a very big movie buff. I keep watching a lot of movies. I don't really. It's very difficult for me to categorize a movie. This is a bad movie. That's a good movie. I love every movie and all the languages. So if anybody told you don't watch movies and you will not learn anything, you are wasting your time. No, I really feel that cinema is one platform on which everything gets integrated. Everything. If it has to be put on one plate, and that's going to be cinema. We'll have a Super Sunday session on cinema for sure one day. Yeah. Can suggest a few, although can share with students. Reena Prakash ma'am, with respect to today's session, I would request you to go through Cambridge books. Try procuring these books. And YouTube link is not opening. YouTube link is there. I'm sharing the YouTube link. Okay, it's right over here. I can see the chat on the YouTube. So Reena ma'am, you need to check out okay, you need to check out the IB and IGCSE professional development uh, ports. I mean portal in which they have given properly on the courses that are offered for you to become an IB certified teacher and the three skill levels of Cambridge teacher as well. Yeah. By the way, I also have to mention the first week of December, 5th and 6th, if I'm not wrong, we have the CS program online happening again. Yeah, so any interested computer science teachers can be part of it. The link for joining the CHM's program is also coming on the chat. It's again a free session. I think some of you know that. In collaboration with Bits Pilani, Quark Bits Pilani, this is happening. The teachers who have attended, they've actually given very good feedback, except for the feedback that the certificates are delayed a little bit. But yeah. So yeah, Sangeeta ma'am, that's a good question actually. But see, I'm not able to comment on other subjects as such, considering my expertise in computer science. I've gone through computer science books very well, so I like them a lot. And my parents have always told very had great regards for Cambridge books and other subjects, social, English, science, and maths. So I don't know. So for me, I'm able to say that yeah, computer science is really good. What is not working, Vaibhav sir? I'm not able to understand. If you click on it, it gets opened up. That's it. Okay. No. Thank you, Savitri ma'am. Monday I'll introduce both of them. Thank you so much. Yeah, today also no questions. That's it. Next week we'll have questions. No, no questions. Don't worry, no questions. This is more like an informative session. That's it. There's nothing to for you to be tested on. Yes, Reena Prakash ma'am, you're right. And that's motivation, right? Right. You'll receive it, Paridhi ma'am. So score is 0. Yeah, just ignore it. That's okay. Can you please take a session on Atal Tinkering Labs and some open source software computer projects? Sure, Rabia ma'am. We'll do that. That's a good point actually. We'll do it. But mostly the topics of I would say Super Sunday would be more into education systems and habits of a teacher things, considering they are not so subject focused because we've got wide variety of people joining, right? Only for that. Yes, there are many schools who have this movie time who do this. Yeah. Richa ma'am, please click on the reflection form again and try, ma'am. It'll open. A session on parent teachers meeting should happen. Triveni ma'am, we did one session on that. Effective communication with parents. We'll do it. We'll do it again. No problem. Yes, Mamta ma'am, you're right. Chalo. Let's close for the day, teachers. Have a super Sunday. Spend time with your family. I'll see you in the next Sunday Super Sunday workshop. Bye, everyone.